Hey guys, as promised, I'm back with another Title Tuesday recap. I played another one on January 28th, late one, and yeah, you'll see how I did, but there were a couple of interesting games, there were a couple of terrible games, but let's start with round number one. I was playing against an M from Romania, and after e4, my opponent spent 2.5 minutes on the first move and played d6. He could have forgotten, but alright, let's just continue. d4, knight f6, and we're kind of transposing to this Pirc's defense. Main move is knight f3, which I played, and now after... So, there are two choices, knight bd7 and e takes d4. Also, there is a knight e6, which is a bit worse, but two main options is knight bd7, after which there are, like, main move is bishop c4, there is rook g1, there is even gambit line g4. Right away, you can play all of them. But my opponent played e takes d4, kind of simplified move, and after knight d4 he played knight c6, and again not the main move. And here, as opposed to playing the main move bishop b5, I decided to go for like slightly less common move bishop e3. And I want to show you a game played by Jeffrey Sean against Satara Babir in one of the speed chess qualifiers. So e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, knight c3, they kind of transposed. Here black played d6, same position we've got in the game. I played bishop e3, but main move is bishop to b5, bishop d7, and now I think what I have in my files is maybe even knight c6 and then going back, maybe bishop c6 takes and bishop g5, bishop f4, castle. Basically the point is white are just having a more pleasant play. d5, queen g3 attacking the pawn g7, bishop f6, kind of trying to put pressure on c3, knight, castle, knight e7, knight e4. Now the point is if takes, rook d8 is coming, so there is something else black should do. They play king b, bishop b2, king b2, and now queen b6 check. They want to take, king a1 takes, but the point is after queen g7, this king is just too weak, and Jeffrey Sean managed to convert pretty smoothly. Takes, takes. The attack is just too strong. Rook b1, and here his opponent simply resigned. So in my game, bishop d7, bishop e2, and my plan was to press him on the clock, plus play as fast as possible, and I started making mistakes. Here he had tactic of going bishop g4. The point is right now knight c6 he can just take, and if I take there is knight g4, and he puts pressure on this knight on d4, and if I take knight d4, and he is not worse, but I would say I still have some pressure after h5, even though computer thinks it's around equal. I would say even though I'm down a pawn, I still put some significant pressure, but I don't think it's huge. After queen d7 offering a queen trade, it's pretty tough to create chances for white. He played castle, and after castle I realized I gotta continue my attack by playing h5, and once again it's not the best move. Takes, takes, c5, and black are in full control of the game. He played knight d5. I played g5, trying to attack, queen d2, takes, takes, bishop g4. And at this point I calculated that at some lines I just take h6, g6, and I go f4, and I bring my queen to h3 and try to set up all these different ideas. Takes, takes, and now look, the whole diagonal is opened. I play f4. My point was that after takes, takes, knight c4, I have queen h3, not only attacking h7 pawn, but also threatening queen e6 with knight capture. He played knight b2, but knight on b2 is unfortunately going to be lost. I could probably just simple play rook b1, and after bishop c3 just play queen c3 and just win a piece, because queen a8, queen b3 probably, and just take a piece. I decided to go slightly different way. I played queen e6. Computer thinks that queen h7, quite typical, king f7, rook h6, and there is no way to save this pawn for black pieces, so this was an easier way. I decided to go for queen e6, rook f7, rook b1, and now I was like, alright, knight is not going anywhere. Queen f8, rook b2, rook e8, and now he has some pressure on e file, on f file. Queen c4, c6, and here I took on b7, pinning this one, and it's tough to deal with it. And after d4, I'm not going for knight e5, even though it's possible. I just go queen c4. Even though it gives a piece back, here he basically lost on time. But just to show you what happens here is, let's say d takes c3, I can just capture, queen f7, king f7, and then go e5, lock this bishop down. I have extra material. I threaten h7, I threaten c3, I'll take one of the spawns and it will no longer be hard to convert. So yeah, I finally won in the first round. Not the worst game, could be better. But now let's get to round number 2 against a Spanish Grandmaster. Let's go. In the second round I was playing against 26 FIDE Grandmaster. And that was a kind of interesting game. Let me show you. So e4, c5, knight f3, knight c6, and now I'm going for my kind of main weapon. But look, I want to switch from it, maybe play d4, or I have to study lines, because generally what I've been doing in Rossolimo structures, like I don't have my, I mean I have great experience playing in this, but I don't know typical plans. Like I gotta work on Rossolimo specifically, because you will see later on, like in one of the openings, I know lines still like move 25. Meanwhile here, my prep ended after queen c7 basically. Because, look, I'm not studying this line a lot of times, and it's just painful that, alright, this guy plays against me, I have no idea what to play, and alright, he knows some typical ideas, I don't. I mean, I know some as well, but it's just like the experience of playing this position will matter a lot, because once we go to the middle game, he'll just be more ready for different ideas than me. So apparently, this position was played in, I mean, elite level. Let's say Fabi against Magnus. So I played queen e2, right? So queen e2 is actually not the worst choice. Apparently, it was played on many occasions as well, but let's say not by top guys, right? So let's just see what Fabi did against Magnus. This is actually a great game. Castle, knight e7. Oh wait, what's going on? Why is it like that? Wait. All right, finally. Bishop c6 takes castle, so knight 7, h4. So basically Fabi is trying to push this pawn to h5, f9, move to g6, h5, e5, blocking the way, h5, knight g8, knight h2, knight f6, f4. So you have to be a very good positional player to play Rossolimo structures, and as you might see, even top players like Magnus actually lose games. e6, h6, and now f5 trying to take on h6. Rook j8, bishop h6, c4 trying to create some mess, king h1, bishop a6, b3 takes, e5 takes, castle, and now rook goes to c1 on the same file as king, and it becomes dangerous for Magnus. He plays knight d5, queen f3, bishop a3, and now Fabi sacrificed an exchange. But the point is here, guys, look at this bishop on a6. It has no job. This knight is coming to c5, this bishop potentially reroutes as well, so it's a very unpleasant position. Knight c5, putting some pressure, bishop d3, f6. So now it becomes tough. a4, bishop a6, knight g4, king b8, knight a6 takes, and knight t5. Now the point is queen can't take, because bishop f4 is coming, queen b7, knight c6, king a8, knight d8, takes, queen a2, and Fabi ended up winning this game against Magnus. So they played for a while, like this endgame is completely winning. 3, king h5, king g6, and here Magnus resigned. I played queen e2. Again, we saw it's playable 5 and now b3. So computer says knight bd2 is the main idea. b3 is kind of playable, but you'll see why it doesn't work. b3, knight e7, bishop b2, and now knight g6, first protected, and after knight bd2, f6. And now black suddenly have no problems, and they locked my bishop. And I think by the time I'm posting this video, I launched a new video series on positional techniques. And one of in the first lesson, one of them is actually f6, e5, or f3, e4 pawn barriers, which basically restrict bishops, knights. Because look, my knight is not active. Like, my knight is not able to go to d4, I can't really press e5 pawn, so black have literally no problems after this series of moves: h5, knight f4, queen f1, bishop g4. So he's basically trying to take my pawn h5. So here I was calculating during the game, what if I play g3, attack the knight, and if knight h5 I was playing rook h4. But to me it seemed like computer thinks it's good. I mean, it's not good, but it's like equal. I was like, alright, he plays g6, what do I have? I was thinking like queen h1 and maybe try to sack, but of course it's like, it doesn't really work. Castle, castle. Like at some point, yeah, I might go for g4, rook h7 maybe, but it won't work. Like, yeah, this knight is dumb because it can go to g7, I take. But at the same time, yeah, computer thinks it's alright. I feel it just doesn't make sense. But I think the point is the position is so close that it doesn't even matter what I'm doing here. For a while, at least it wouldn't matter. But alright, let's get... I played h6, which is not bad. And now after g5, I realized I gave black too much space. Castle, castle, king b1, king b8, rook e1, rook g8, a4. And here I was just moving back and forth, just trying to understand what I'm gonna do. Knight b1, knight h8, knight d2, knight f7. And here I came up with the good move f4. And suddenly, after d4, look. So you see 25 seconds, like, I started panicking. Of course, I would play f5 probably like any time. I played knight a3. My idea was to bring knight to c4 as soon as possible, even though I didn't really need it. Maybe f5 and then try to bring your knight to c4. Like, why it matters, Romka, I'm not sure. But yeah, basically after f5 I would have probably no problems. Yeah, I have problems with the h6, which is a bit annoying, but I mean, it's really hard to kind of break this whole structure, so probably could have played this and be alright, but fine. Knight a3, and soon I collapsed because basically black are entering. Basically one mistake and you see how it happens. Like, it's just like straight to the bar, the beer. Yeah, just a bit unfortunate game, but I mean, it was not the worst game that I played this day. Now let's get to round number 3. In round number 3 I was playing against CM from Ireland. I wouldn't concentrate much on the opening this time because I don't think there's much to analyze. So neither defense, and he plays rook g1, which is called Pirc attack. And as you might see here on the right side, Sicilian defense played 58 times as black, 66% win rate, and you get a recommendation on the course, chessable course, lifetime repertoire Giri Naidorf. Which is, I mean, chess.com has new features, by the way. They'll probably launch courses within chess.com, which is a cool feature. I played h5. I mean, generally what people do here is play e5 first. I played h5 just to... Because, guys, another problem with this title Tuesday games, they're all going to database. And the more I play in this title Tuesday, the more my opponents have material to prepare for me. So I want to start playing some dumb stuff. Because, look, I don't want my opponents to be prepared for me. And when I play main lines, of course, I'll have to play something else, you know, with the board chess. And probably have worse results, since I don't know much. Alright, h5, bishop g5, a6, bishop g7, castle, queen c7, f4, knight b7. Generally, I mean, all quite common. f5. So f5 is the first move which kind of told me that, alright, I have e5 potentially, but I didn't want to play e5 because I weakened d5 square, even though this was probably good because I developed my bishop to b7, and he doesn't have much here. He might play h3 to go for g4, but I think before and then incomplete. No, I mean, position is absolutely standard. There is nothing much going on. At f6, don't think he can take because bishop f5, and I mean, my pieces are just coming. I played knight f5, takes, knight f3. Yeah, and this is where I'm getting kind of worse. Like, e5 equalizes on the spot, knight b3, b5. That's kind of for the future games. But knight d5 takes, and even though I thought it's good, it turns out not to be as good, because even knight f3 seems like an unpleasant move, like he wants to take. Still, there is not much white can do about this position, but I mean, still, you know, you don't want to allow this. still nothing much, right? Yeah, now my point was, I have some pressure on e4, potentially some knight e4 ideas in the future, maybe double rooks on d-file, but I didn't manage to find any ideas. Queen b6, my point was bishop a3, bishop e3 now, bishop c5, and we traded bishops. Now he goes rook f1, trying to take open f-file. I went for h4. I was always worried about, let's say I go something like rook f8, I was worried about queen g3, but apparently it's not like big of a deal, even though I thought it is. I played h4. My point was, if he plays h3, he might also weaken his light squares here. I could just take, but I was calculating it, but I was like, how is it better? But what I didn't calculate is actually this rook dg8, which is again like, you know, I gotta calculate all this stuff. Like, you know, I saw basically till this point, and I did rook g7. I was like, deep in the head, I was like, I saw that I have this knight g4, knight h2. That's why you have to calculate till the end and not stop like in the middle, how I did in this game. Rook f7, knight h2, rook g7, rook g8, and I have huge advantage. Not huge, computer gives only 0.5, but the problem is this pawn on g2 right now. Let's say takes, and now I'm about to take this pawn on g2, rook d2, and I have a lot of pressure. Like, I'm not worse, I have probably no chance of losing this game. There is not much to plunder, but what I did is just, okay, I first escaped queen trade. Rook e1, first of all, queen trade would be smart since I have this knight g4, but also with queen trade I don't have to worry about d5 pawn much. Rook f8, queen c7, and I started like moving my pieces back and forth. Knight g3 takes, queen b6, I play queen c7, and after queen c5, yeah, you see what I played on the bottom right. I played knight e4. So I saw rook f4. I was like, I was about to move it, but then I was like, why I don't take first? I completely forgot that this rook is under attack. And of course, after rook f4, no problems again. I have knight e4 here, just take and not really worry about stuff. Let's say bishop e6, I have queen c7, offering a queen trade, attacking this one, so rook d7 is not possible, right? But yeah, again, awful, and after queen f8, basically there is not much to spectate. He ended up winning, queen b8, checkmate. It's 1 out of 3 now. Let's get to round number 4. So this time, even though I won the first game, I lost to a grandmaster, I lost to CM, and I was facing 2400 FM. Again, lower rated opponents, seems like a good pairing for me, but let's see what happened. I won't be deep into the opening because I don't think it is worth analyzing. I wish I could, because we'll basically analyze more in the upcoming rounds, because there is a lot of stuff that I want to show you. Bishop e7, bishop g2, e6. Again, like, these setups with white, they're actually not bad, guys. Yeah, you don't get as much advantage, but at least you get some kind of interest in play. So if you want to escape here, this is one of the setups to go with, like g3, knight f3, g3, and then b3, bishop b2, and then c4 is crucial to try to take control over the center. There's also King's Indian reverse, which is very, very exciting. So there's a bunch of stuff to play with white, but generally black, if they know what they do, they get a comfortable position, and they can't say I did something stupid. Like, all of the moves were kind of good. Takes, knight d7, and we just simply develop. And once again, guys, every single game I'm trying to play for a win. Even though, you know, even though my opponent is lower rated, they're still FM, strong FM. So maybe at some point I gotta start. I mean, if I see it's a draw, I gotta agree with the draw, because in this round you will see what happens. Rook d8, queen b8, and I reroute my queen to a8. Now I put some pressure on this long diagonal. Now, of course, the only move is knight e1. And after takes, bishop d4. So first I had this rook c1 to play it first myself, as opposed to playing e5. It's still, like, you know, it's zeros according to computer. And here after bishop c3 I played knight c5. But you know why? I'm not sure if it worked. I was calculating this basically. Bishop e5. I have queen d1. Alright, and then knight d3. But here queen d4. Like, that's a very, very long line. Because you know what I was worried about? I was like, bishop e5, and then knight d3, and then there is bishop f6, right? But apparently, yeah, I had queen d1 check first, and then knight d3. But I mean, things are getting complicated, but it's still a draw apparently. Takes. Knight is coming to c3 and potentially taking this pawns and queen side. He played queen d2, offering me a queen trade, and I should have probably agreed with the queen trade and then click on offer draw, and he would have agreed, and you know, we're all happy. But very ambitious, you know, I'm an Arsenal short here, you know, I'm always trying to create problems for myself. So I played queen e8, queen d5, and now he's just more active. Queen entered. Yeah, his pieces are kind of passive right now, but of course shouldn't have done that. Just straight queens off the board, man. Just do nothing. h6, e4, and now knight is coming to e3 and then potentially f5, and here I realized I might start having problems. Takes, and once again, absolutely equal endgame. Bishop d8, f6, king f7, king f6, and that's a crucial moment. a4. And I just rushed. I thought knight c5 right after I moved a6, I realized I had knight c5, and I saw knight c5. It just, you know, I should keep my hands, like, you know, up, even though I have 13 seconds. I should keep them up and think for a while, as opposed to basically moving, you know, because I have mouse. I wanna move as fast, right? And a6 was, I mean, kind of moves where I didn't think, I just moved. And f3 is still a draw, guys. Takes, knight c5, and now I blundered. Not blundered, but like, you'll see what I mean by blunder. So I should have maybe went for knight f6. Just make an easy draw, knight f6, just g takes f6. Actually, it's not so easy. Apparently, I'm losing. Yeah, knight c5 is actually the best move, which I did, but after a5, it turns out like I can't play b5. I played knight d4, which is a draw, but after a takes b6, knight d6, king c5, I blundered by playing e4 because I panicked again. I had 2 seconds on the clock. It's very hard to kind of move your pieces, but apparently what happens here, I should have spotted this tactic with bishop b6. That's why this move doesn't really work, and white had no way to escape a draw. And here the point is king b6, I take on d5, and this bishop is under attack. This pawn is really dangerous, and if knight b6, I take on c3, and I'm even winning. But I played d4, and unfortunately in time scramble I managed to lose the game. And before the first break in Title Tuesday, it is 1 out of 4 for me. But what happens next is some very exciting games, and for those of you who were watching live, you were kind of shocked with me, because I didn't expect what happened next. Alright, let's go to round number 5. Alright guys, this is a very exciting game as well. So e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4 takes, knight f6, knight c3, knight dwarf system with h3. That's the system I would suggest you play with white, because look, it's not hard to learn theory there, but you know, it's kind of easy to play. It's the same setup. After e5 you go knight to 2, and basically you're trying to go g4. The main move, and the only move which creates problems for black, is h5, and now more or less like you gotta know stuff. There is g3, there is the move that I play most of the time, bishop g5. g3 is more solid, you go bishop g2 afterwards and just castle. Bishop g5 is one of the options as well. But bishop b6, which my opponent played, it's not the main line, and now I took the space by playing g4, and now h5 is just banned due to g5, and I take control over d5 square. So black played d5, which is the main option, takes, and now I go bishop g2. And the point in these positions is, let's say, I think in my file they have this move, and after king d8, queen d8, king d8, I go knight c3, king c7, and some move like f4, and white are just not a lot better, but they're better. But my opponent played bishop b4, not the main move, and here the main move is castle, which I played, and after takes. So I played b takes c3, because I was like, my bishop is coming this way, I should be good, but apparently knight c3 is a lot more precise. And I'll show you a game that Garakamsky played against Shankland Samuel. Samuel was 25-12 in 2011. Oh my goodness, now he's like 26-50, was even 2700. I'm not sure if he's 2700 now. Alright, takes, and now after takes, the point is, guys, white have a lot of pressure on this diagonal, potentially not even letting black castle. Bishop a3 is played. And Gata was just ruthless in this position. He just outplayed Samuel. Bishop e6, bishop c5. He has two bishops and yeah, just a better position. He just harassed him for a while. Yeah, just great game by him, honestly. Bishop d3 took the pawn and now was in completely winning situation. Takes and ended up winning the game. So basically why black can take bishop 7 is a sudden checkmate idea. But let's get back to our game. I played b takes e3 and after knight 6 it's more or less equal. Played bishop a3, restricting the skin, not letting it castle. Queen a5, and now I played queen c1, still protecting my bishop and still not letting castle short side. I was like, if she goes for long castle, I'll go rook b1 and I have potentially an attack on queen side. Knight b6, and here I realized that after rook b1 I have a lot of pressure on b file. Knight c4, takes, rook c8, and here I play queen g5, which is a blunder. And you know what my plan was, guys? I just forgot that this square will be protected after queen e3. Let's say black does something random by playing h6, there is bishop c6, rook c6, queen s7. What I forgot is that after queen a3, which she played, bishop c6, rook c6, queen e7 no longer works. You know all these memes when you think it's a checkmate, but there is like a bishop from 1,000 miles away, but there is queen from 1,000 miles away, which is able to take this queen on e7 and then just down a lot of material. Queen g7. I was like, I should be still better. I have some pressure. The skin is in the center. It will not castle queen f8, and now I play queen f6. So apparently here I had rook c6 and then queen f6. I decided to go for queen f6, and now the only move is knight for a5, attacking this rook and also putting extra layer of defense on this knight on c6. And from now on, you know, I don't know what I have done, but it's just tough. She had 26 seconds, and of course she blundered by playing knight d6. And now after... Alright, I didn't notice it. But basically bishop c6, I win a game. This, rook b8, rook c8, what do I have? Takes, bishop c8, rook d1. Alright, I mean, that's a bit complicated. What if king d7? Oh, knight g3, yeah, that's too complicated, guys. You can see it, I played rook b6, I was like, I'm threatening a knight, I'm threatening this knight. She played knight e7, after rook d6 I'm completely winning. Knight g6, bishop c6, bishop d7, checkmate. And after rook c6, rook d8, the game finished in a checkmate. We are rolling on to 2 out of 5. Hope that one was interesting, but the next one... Oh, not the next one, but there are a couple of interesting games. Let's go. In round number 6, I was playing against CM 24-20, again lower rated opponent, and we had a very exciting Nimzo defense. Bishop b4, e3, castle, d5, all book moves as you might see on the board. Takes, b6, that's all theory. And after knight d7 he played the move that is kinda out of theory apparently, which I haven't seen a lot, queen b3. And here the best move is bishop e7, which I managed to play. And I actually, yeah, let me see if, yeah, there is apparently this move, bishop e7, and here white play knight e5 as opposed to, in my game, rook e1. But let's see what's happened in this game. You take c5, knight d7, bishop g5, takes, and as you might see, this bishop is an absolute monster. I'm surprised that it is 2400 Kai. Because basically what happened is knight e5 and simply white admitted their loss, and it happened on 2400 level, guys. It's not like some beginner level, like knight d5, knight d7, and bishop g5. Like, who plays g3? That's the move that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, and it's classical chess, that's the main point as well. Like, how on earth? I think nobody from modern 2400s, because this game was played in 2006, so I can imagine that the chess probably improved a lot, and now let's say someone like me should be 2400 like at that times, but we live in a different world than those guys did. Alright, bishop h4, rook c8, bishop g3, and here I was like, alright, this bishop is annoying, it blocks everything, every activity on this diagonal, so I gotta trade it off. And he played bishop e6. That's actually a sacrifice that I didn't even think of, And I was like, why is he thinking for so long? Like, what he calculates? And I was like, I realized, all right, this move is annoying. So first of all, what I should have done here, let's say, is just to take on f3. After takes knight d5 and takes knight d7. Let's say he plays d5. D5 is not possible. Knight d5 and I just take. But basically, I have almost no problems after rook c8, and I'm slightly better. But let's say here takes rook f7. His point was to take the bishop if I move my king back. Rook f7 protects it, but now I still have some compensation. Here again I take on f3. I was like, I didn't take. And here I had knight d5, which I'm not sure why I didn't play it. I played bishop f6. My idea was still to trade it, right? But knight d5 was just a lot easier. And if queen f5 or rook e5, I play knight f4, I have no problems. I'm not sure. Like, I just got distracted. Like, I can't explain why I don't play, let's say, knight d5 in the following position. Maybe it looked to me that rook was on d1, but it just doesn't make sense. Like, I played bishop f6, queen g4, bishop g5, rook d1. Now knight goes back, knight goes to h7. Should have done back. Apparently what computer wants is actually knight df6, which is slightly insane. But apparently it all works for black. I play knight h7, knight goes to e4, bishop h4, king g4, now bishop goes to e7. And as you might actually see here, I'm in a very passive spot. Bishop f6, queen e8, f4 takes, and now he has absolutely insane pawns. I had some knight g5, and let's say he plays h4, I have rook c6, attacking the queen, queen goes to h5, I go knight e4, threaten knight f2, potentially even knight g3 fork, so completely winning spot. I played rook d7. Rook d7 is a terrible move, because queen h6, he has a bunch of pawns, this pawn will start moving. I'm in a terrible situation. Queen g6, and now the point is, guys, some of my viewers were like, why he didn't take on d7, he attacks this under attack. Here I have queen e4 with the check, and then just go rook d8, take the pawn and win the game. Rook g6, rook d6, trying to press these pawns. Apparently here rook e7 worked better, but I was kind of afraid. I couldn't find this move. This move just holds everything. Let's say h4, I can go knight d4, d6, I think I have knight f2. Yeah, and the point is takes, rook e8, and I take 2 pawns and win the game. d5, and now pawns are just huge power, king f8, and here he had e5, d6, d7, just smash me off the board. Knight f6, here again e5 was possible, just basically fork freaking rook and knight. Just what are you doing? Why rook g1? But he had no time, guys. That's understandable. He was nervous as well. Knight e8, that's king d8, and now knight g7. It's all over. Again, mistake. Should have played rook c4, attack it right away. So what I did, it was just terrible. I let his king go here, and after king f3 I would have had a lot of problems as this position is winning for white. But after king f2, rook e4, I took the pawn, and from now on it was easy to play. Rook e6, and I ended up checkmating him on e2. 3 out of 6. I won 2 in a row. Now let's get probably to the best game of that title Tuesday. Let's go. Guys, this was probably, I mean, that will show you how important prep is in chess. So let's start. So my opponent plays French, and we are going for probably the sharpest line that exists in French, which is the never. Bishop c3 takes, knight a7, queen goes to g4, I take on g7, rook g8, queen h7, c takes d4, knight d2. That's all theory. D takes f3, queen d3, d4, takes, bishop d7, rook g1, knight f5, queen f2, queen c6, bishop d3, and again it's all theory. Queen d5 takes, rook g2, takes, bishop e4, queen h2, castle, and now this is where he must stop. So I have all this prep in my files, and the move that he played here, rook c8, is a blunder. And the main move, as you might see here, which computer suggests, is bishop c6, and I want to show you a game played by Grandmaster Dmitry Kokrev, who actually, we had a camp on this specific range with him few years ago. I mean, for me it was like already like maybe 5 years ago. It was like right after COVID, I think. So we had a camp on Vinaver. He would actually sit with us with like 10 kids and just show us what to play. And let's see, he destroyed Ryazan Yaroslav. strong. I'm not sure, he should be GM. Bishop c6, king b1, rook d8, takes, and now rook goes to g1 as opposed to trading it off. The problem is here, black king is not castled. Black gotta be very careful in order to hold this position. King d7, queen a7, king c8, queen b6, and here basically black just simply resigned, because this is why prep is important, even on Grandmaster level, guys. You see, Grandmaster is 2500, and because you know just a lot more, you'll win the game. And that's what happened in my game. Bishop c6 is the main move, and then after king b1 there's still a lot of problems, right? But here he played rook c8, and I immediately realized that this is probably a wrong move, and I just can play king b1, and queen d4 next is coming. And he has not a lot of choice, guys. He played b6, and after queen d4, just trouble. Let's say bishop goes to b5, bishop b7, I mean rook b8, there is queen d6, and I'm attacking the rook. And if rook takes, I basically checkmate right away. He decided to go for rook c7, but here I spotted rook h1 and queen d6 right away. Because I was calculating bishop d3 initially, but I was like, alright, queen d6 wins a lot easier. I'm just threatening checkmate on h8, right? And if he takes, he resigned after queen d6, but if he takes, I take with a pawn. I not only attack this rook on c7, but I also take this escape square for the king, and if rook moves, let's say, to c8, I go rook h8 checkmate. So he has to sacrifice the house and we'll lose the game. And you know, this is why prep matters. And by the way, the accuracy here 98.4, because basically I was in my prep. I knew basic ideas, and that's why you gotta learn your theory, you gotta learn your homework. That's why it's, I mean, you shouldn't underestimate the theory. Like, yeah, people ask me like, what would you concentrate on? I would say below 2000, not worried too much about it, but as you might see here, I won the game against an M2500 basically on chess.com, just because I knew slightly more with white pieces. Now let's get to round number 8. Round number 8, so after starting 1 out of 4, I managed to win already 3 in a row, and now it was round number 8. I was facing against, again, another FM, and we got a very interesting position. So first of all, I don't want to analyze this with the chess plays, because this opening doesn't make any sense. Like, what he did is just insane. G4, and here he played G5. Like, who on earth would play G5 here? Basically, he's just completely lost, like, on move 7. Like, what is knight e7 and then G5? He plays like a complete beginner. X takes, maybe he had a bet. I mean, in Europe it's night, so probably not the best time to play chess. Knight d7, bishop c4, b6, knight d2. I just simply developed my piece, and after b5, I played. I'm not going back. I'm not taking this pawn. I'm playing rook h1, counter attack right away. After bishop g7, and again I don't take. I play rook h7, attacking this bishop again. And after king f8, guys. So basically, what I was calculating here, bishop f8. Can you find? I mean, I was calculating bishop e6 here, and after f takes e6, queen f4, I was like, there is no way to defend. Apparently, queen f4 wins a lot easier, because I don't even need to over-complicate things, just play this move. And after, let's say, knight e5, trying to protect, just d takes e5. And let's say, I'm not sure why it doesn't work in, let's say, okay, because I do it without a piece. Let's say bishop f8, bishop e6, takes queen f4, knight e5. Basically, it doesn't have the same power, but basically the position is still completely winning. Rook h7, he played king f8. And he realized, alright, I'm not sitting here, I'm not sitting around, I play bishop e6. And the point is, after f takes e6, I will play knight f4, threaten fork. If he goes king g8, I take on g7, king g7, knight e6, I win. Due to a fork on king and a queen. But after knight g6, both is gambit, very unfortunate one, bishop d8, and that's another brilliant game. 88.5, not as high of an accuracy, but still a very solid game. And then there was another break. I won 4 in a row. Let's get to round number 9. Alright guys, round number 9. I was playing against quite a good CM, 2783, c5, knight f3, d6. And we went to this kind of drawish line. and I didn't lose it because of opening. I lost the game eventually, we'll see, but that was an exciting game. G6 takes, bishop G7, queen 7, queen A5, that's all theory. Bishop D2, knight C6, knight D5, and now queen has to go to D8 because there are some forks. Bishop C3, and now I played knight D5, which is not the main move. I'll show you a game played by Alexei Shirov, very strong GM. E4, C5, bishop B5 takes, knight F6. That's all theory, queen A5, queen knight C6, queen D8, and now bishop C3. So here, like, main move is E6. Because I think it's E6, because as you might see here, it says 2 games, but like it's almost like every single game here is E6. And then takes, knight F6, takes, and basically we're going to this position. Queen can't take on D6 because queen A1 wins 2 rooks. Castle, queen F5, protecting, queen D2, and I mean, black have no problems, white have no problems, so it's like a dead draw. Rook B3, and we basically they went on to a very simple rook endgame where they agreed to a draw. I could do the same. I played knight D5, and now I'm slightly probably worse, but my idea was alright. I don't let him skin castle, but the point is, guys, that was kind of bad. You know, I saw this idea, I got excited, and I was like, alright, like that didn't do anything for me. Like, again, I get excited about nothing, and that's what I gotta work on. Just calculate, just evaluate position the right way, because immediately I realized that I'm no better, and the problem is here, this king is no problem. Because let's say, if there was no pawn on f3 and then I gave this queen a5, then king would have gone to e2, and then there are like some possibilities going rook e8, e5, but now king has escape square on f2, and like I don't have enough pieces to create any threats here, only 2 bishops which are about to be traded, but not sufficient. Queen d4, and queen is in the center, my queen is doing absolutely nothing, potential weakness on e7. And I decided to trade queens, h4, h5, king g3, and his king starts walking. Here I realized that unfortunately my idea of going b5 doesn't really work. According to me it didn't work, but apparently it worked. So my point was rook b4, king g3, and I had what? I had d6. And just get my rook to d4 again. You know, that's why I gotta calculate more during Title Tuesdays. But rook bd8, as you might see, 9 seconds on the clock. Things get terrible. G5, rook d6, trying to hold. And my point here was, let's say g takes h5, I play rook f5, I take on h5, I don't give a pawn, so it's actually protected. I also attack on f3, so that's all good. Rook e3, takes, rook f3, rook f2, and here I realized I might potentially checkmate him. Suddenly, you know, there are some checkmate threats. He decided to trade one pair of rooks, rook d6, still a draw, guys, still a complete draw. We moved our pieces for a while, and I started messing this up. a5, I was like, alright, apparently there is takes, and he's winning, but he played king d4, and now it is a draw again. I had rook h8 here, which makes a simple draw, attack on h4, this pawn will start moving, and then you come back and trying to take this d5 or c5, played f5, still a draw, king c4, and here I had a6 and d6, b6, I take the opponent, and draw the game without any problems. I played b6, here he had c6, which he didn't play. Oh, he played it. I played d6, I was like, alright, I'm threatening this. Before, and again a draw. And now h5, he tries to create the second pass pawn. Now I'm out of danger, but during the game, I'm up to pawns. In the moment, I'm up to pawns. But of course, these pawns are quite dangerous. So g6, king d5, and I again panicked. 2 seconds on the clock, I was like, what am I doing? King d6 was probably... King d6 actually not as simple because rook f5, and I can't take because rook f6. So king f6 would make a lot of sense, since now g7, and you know what move makes draw? I should not take, but I thought that I should take, and after rook f5 just play king g6. But the problem here is, guys, that king is cut off, so that actually makes sense for white as they're winning. They'll take pawn on b6, promote, and then my king is cut off. And if I try to move, let's say, let me show you a quick line. Let's say comes like rook c7, king b6, rook c8, c7, h4, king b7, takes, and now I play h3. The point is now whites have simple this, and after h2, h3, they take the pawn and win the game. So I should first play in f6 and then g7 play h4 just to make sure. And after king b6 I play d4 and I start pushing c7, and now I play king g7, and the point is takes. I might go this way, c8, rook c8, king c8, now king is too far, and now king starts moving to the center, and it's a draw. King f5. I try to do the same, but unfortunately white have 2 pawns, not 1. f4, this, and like, it's just over. I had some chances after king f5 apparently still, c8 just takes, but again I'm just too dumb, so f3, blunder, takes, king tries to walk, and I lost 5 out of 9. And what happened next? I wasn't prepared for round number 10. You know why? Because I know, but I got out of the system somehow. And unfortunately, I kind of skipped around, got 0 points, and moved on to round number 11, where I had another very exciting game, which I want you to actually stay for. Let's go. Alright, in round number 11, I was facing CM, 24-67, so again, lower rated opponent. And we got into Nimzo. Once again, another Nimzo on the board. c5, castle, e3, takes, and now I play b6. So c takes d4, takes d4, d5 is slightly better. I'm trying to take, maybe go b6, bishop b7. Maybe the idea is just to go knight c6, and alright, for me, I know b6 looks just better for me. I'm not sure. Maybe there is like a concrete refutation. I developed my bishop to b7, which will deliver a lot of problems in the future. Knight f4, f5, castle, rook f6, and here white play. Very logical, by the way, guys. Very logical rook d2. b4 is better, b3, and by the way, a lot of people play knight d2 in this position just to escape all the problems on this long diagonal. And white played knight d2, which seems normal at first, but after rook h6, not rook g6, but rook h6, it turns out queen h4 is a serious threat. Let's say if white decide to take, they're actually completely losing. There is queen h4, after h3 there is bishop g2, and the game ends on the spot. But after rook h6, white played g3. And here, as you might see on your screen, if you see the engine, if you can't see it, try to find yourself. There is an absolutely insane move, which I didn't find. I was like, I saw it for a while, and then I was like, it doesn't work. But it just crossed my mind, but I didn't really calculate it. Like, I saw it, I was like, knight g5 is a lot better right now, because I'm threatening knight h3 checkmate, but it doesn't work. And here I should have spent some time. Thinking. I have 2 minutes on the clock. I should spend some time thinking. It looks bad. Knight g5, f3, yeah, black are better, but it's nothing concrete. And here, you know, for those of you who watched the game between Daniel Dubov and Michal Sarin, they would easily spot queen h4. And one of my viewers, shout out to him, spotted this one. Like, he was watching it. He was like, was queen h4 possible? And I was like, after the game, queen h4. And then I saw this moment, I was like, man, it crossed my mind, but I didn't see it. He was like, he was going crazy, but queen h4 works. And the point is here, guys, g takes h4 loses right away due to rook g6, king h1, knight f2, it's checkmate. So now the point is it attacks, right? Knight f3, defend, and also attack the queen. But here, black use bishop and knight by playing knight g5. And now the point is you can't take the queen because knight h3 is a checkmate, and you can't take this one because knight f3, bishop f3, rook g6, and once again you win the game because king h1, bishop f3 is a checkmate. But I played knight g5. My point was alright, I'm threatening checkmate, and h4. I actually planned this, and rook h4. Or you know what I first planned? I think I planned rook h4 first, but here white have d5, so that's why it didn't work. Because I was like, alright, it's pretty much the same, but that's why move order really matters. Because here knight h3, king h2, and rook h4 comes, and now it's hard to defend the king. So let's say now they play d5, now knight f4, obviously, king g1, knight to king g2. I mean, the game is over after simple rook h6. I'm just up a piece, my bishop is still active, it's over. F3, knight h3, king g2, and here I decide to go for queen a8, queen h5. Still a very good position, knight f1, knight g5. So first mistake. Knight c6, pressing on d4 would have been a lot better, and after d5, just play knight e5. Again, not a huge pressure, not a completely winning position, but it's better what I did in the game. Knight g5, king d1, queen h3, king g1, and now after knight c6, it turns out that after d5, which my opponent played, I have some troubles. I played knight d5, letting white go f4 at some point. They played d4, I played rook g6, takes, and now they played f4, forking my rook and my knights. I'm in a completely bad spot, losing. Take c5, take c5, rook g6, f takes c5, but look at the time, guys. I had 5 seconds, 6 seconds at that point. My opponent had 23 seconds. I'm down a piece. f4. I start creating counterplay. Queen d3, rook f8, rook d1. And now I had f takes g3 apparently. I played b5. I'm trying to open this diagonal for my bishop because it doesn't work. And here, he played g4. And after f3, it turns out huge trouble and threatening checkmate, which I actually didn't see. Because after knight g3, I played f takes e2, guys. Yeah, that's what happens in time scramble. In bullet, I would probably like notice it right away. I would see this idea, but I was so tired probably that I just couldn't like capture it and just see it. But my position is winning anyways right now. Queen c4, rook g4, queen c3, c4, rook e3, and now I play d6, not sure why. Just play bishop d5 right away. But here, finally, after e6, I play bishop d5, and the point is rook d5, rook f1 is a checkmate due to the spin, or queen f1, doesn't really matter. And rook e2, which my opponent played, I can't take this first, so I played bishop f3, and now I have rook g3 set up. Rook f2, takes, queen h1, checkmate. So we scored 6 out of 11. Let me show you the final score. Again, considering that I actually scored 6 out of 10, not 6 out of 11, because I actually missed one round, but alright. It is what it is. Not the worst one, not the best one. We're still trying to climb and show our best against top players. So hopefully you enjoyed, hopefully some of you watched till this very moment. You have a great day, have whatever is coming up for you. And come to live streams during Title Tuesdays. I'm waiting for you guys. Let's chat. We had a nice chat last week. I mean, during the Title Tuesday about football. So come, say hi, send friend requests. Hope you enjoyed, guys. I think this was an educational one, very interesting one. Couple of exciting games I've had. Nothing of them were boring or whatever. So I really enjoyed playing them. Yeah. Losing is part of the game. It is what it is. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you in the next recap. Bye bye.